Alright, so today we are going to do our throttle linkages. Our goal is to attach this to this guy and this guy to that guy and have a hard mount that can attach to, probably somewhere around there. And then we'll be done for our linkages. There's still more stuff to do, like idle control valve and obviously sealing this off as it's not even bolted down all the way. But our distance between these two is going to maintain the same for everything. I found some air filters that may work on jegs. They're kind of like a weird triangular offset shape. Little pod filter. It's about like yay long, it looks like in the photos. And it's kind of like that shape there. Like a diamond but on offset, and it's in one of the corners. So I think I could probably fit like 4 of those on there, but about $38 each. So I mean, it's getting up there for price. But we'll see what happens. Let's just conquer the linkage and then probably call it a day. Mainly just came here today so I can take my power tools home with me, and then I'll be ready for work the next day. Well, what we've got here is we've got one of these rods. And we've straightened it out, but it's still just about a 1/4 of an inch too short. But as things move, it might not be a 1/4 inch. You know, let's say we put a gasket in and for whatever reason it shifts. I mean, we might just be a little bit off. So the concept works, as you can see. So one opens, one closes, and I mean, we've got a whole lot of rods. You can connect the throttle cable up to either one you want. I mean, we're going to go off this one because we're going to mount it there, as it seems to have a good amount of throw for the for what the pedal will give you. So yeah, we're going to do that, and then fuck, down, they're tight. We're going to use these because they're a nice plastic clip. But what we're going to do is we're going to either thread this, and then we're going to make a nut that goes in between, that we can tighten and put on as we need to. Now we're not going to do left and right hand thread because I don't have a left or right hand thread tap. I just have the, I guess, right hand style. So yeah, we will have to do it that way, and then you can always unclip it, turn it out a little bit, clip it back in, and it'll be a-okay. So yeah, come along as we figure out what we need to tap and die this for. So yeah, the rib nut idea worked out a lot better. No fuss, no mess. Just a bit of brake tube, or, well, it is actually brake tube, but it's 5/16 size. I've used it for my fuel line. But yeah, we just pushed in the 2 rib nuts we needed. They're spline. It's expanded on the joint, so we're pretty much a-okay for it never coming out, especially for just a linkage to go in between. Now, one of these throttle bodies was a bit sticky, but now that they're actually together, the spring from the other one is overcoming it. So we're pretty happy with our movement. And once we put a jam nut on here on either side, which we'll just go by because it's M5 by 0.8, so not a big deal to get. It'll tighten it all up, so it should all work fine, and they move together freely. And with the ball joint, and we do have a little bit of play for obviously misalignment on things. And yeah, that's that finished. So now we're gonna focus on getting this guy, which is gonna be somewhere around here, if I'm not covering my hands to the camera. And then we're probably gonna attach something right to here through a double nut or a rod, similar to what's on here, except obviously that can't fit on there nicely. And I don't want to like cut this open to make a hook or something like that, as it still need to kind of come off on a different angle because of the all this getting in the way, and these have to connect, and we're not going to change that. That's not our variable. So we do know that roughly this is pretty damn close to this, because we have our distance and we can measure our strobe. So we know we're not going to have no pull on that to the ratio on this being massive. And that was an issue I had with the ITBs. ITBs is just in general, I mean, you're going to get a touchier gas pedal. But with my setup, I definitely had the ratio in the wrong order. So you only had about 1.5 inches tops of actual pedal travel till it was wide open. So you'd be really an on or off switch on the gas. It's kind of like a quad where they have the push button throttle, where it's all nothing, all nothing, all nothing, which was fine for a while. But I mean, let's spend some time and do it a little bit nicer, hopefully nicer. So yeah, that's why we're gonna do that, and then we'll need to make a little square opening or some sort of opening for this to boop into. So and we can make that adjustable, but let's just focus on getting something in here that can attach that. Now we're thinking of just using a long bolt and a nut, and we will just thread it all the way up, and we'll just kind of tighten her on there, and bing bang boom. Doesn't need to be anything too crazy. So let's get on with it. Comments, concerns, anything you see that I'm missing, put it on down below. Remember, we're going to get just 2 nuts to attach to there so that that's a little bit more solid and it'll pull it into one. If this ever comes loose, I mean, we can either try Loctiting it, or we can actually try to just use the riv nut tool and give it a little bit more tension. But the fact it's expanded out and it's got the splines in there, I think we're going to be fine. But, I mean, time will tell. It's also a pushing motion, too, and not so much of a pulling, so we should be okay. And I can feel where it's expanded out. But if it does become an issue, we'll address it as an issue. But if not, we won't. So, yeah. Now we're going to maybe get onto electrical, or we're going to do a bit of fuel rail stuff. But I got to go across the border and pick up that fuel rail-y stuff. And, yeah. Smell you later.